studio, Fox News legal editor, Kerri Urbahn. Kerri, great to see you in person. The gloat, that was from Todd Blanche, the greatest liar of all time. That was in Todd Blanche's summation earlier today. Is there reasonable doubt?
I don't know how there can't be. If you're a star witness, if the whole case hinges on a known serial convicted liar, how could that not automatically, as a threshold matter, be an issue as far as doubt is concerned? That and the fact that it took them till halfway through the closing argument for all of us to understand what exactly the crime was. That's also a problem if you're the jury and you're trying to piece all of this together. And look, I think one of the biggest questions that I think the jury has to contend with, and it's really twofold. One, can payments to a personal attorney be classified as legal expenses in a ledger if it includes a reimbursement for the prior year and also payment for that year? And two, even if you don't think it could be categorized as legal expenses, how do we know that Trump even knew exactly how they were characterized in that book by an employee at Trump Tower? Because evidence has not established that he did know that. And then, of course, lastly, on top of that, the prosecution needs to prove that Trump had an intent to defraud by making sure those payments were classified as legal expenses. But then, of course, the huge question is, defraud whom exactly? Because it was an internal book. And if you're talking about defrauding the American people by not knowing something, they would have voted differently. Well, one, there was a Wall Street Journal article that came out right before the election that revealed a lot of this. So everyone was put on notice. But two, how many campaign promises do politicians make that they don't fulfill before an election? Could an American say, I feel defrauded. You promised my taxes would be lower. They're not. I need to go to the local DA's office and see if they're going to bring charges because we feel defrauded. There was a conspiracy to influence the election by promising things that you never intended to keep.
But if not legal expenses, the question is always, well, then what should they have been classified as? And the prosecution hasn't put any evidence on to say how they should have been classified. I thought there was an interesting moment in the courtroom where the defense talked about a case like this sending the former president to prison. Mm-hmm. Now, anyone who spends any time in a courtroom knows that you should never reference what a penalty can be because the jury is the finder of fact. They don't, sentence the defendant. So, and again, the defense knows this, right? But I think Judge Merchan has been so unfair with the defense. They played a little fast and loose with the rules. And frankly, I thought it was a brilliant moment to kind of put the context of how serious this case really is and what bogus evidence they have to meet the elements of the charge.
Totally. And it's technically correct what he said. In the hands of the jury is a life-altering decision for the former president and possible future president of this country. And that's the thing that has disturbed me by far the most. If you are going to bring a case against the former leader of the free world, it better be rock solid, airtight, your witnesses better be credible, and you certainly should know why you're sitting there as the jury, what the crimes are. And it's been the opposite of that. In fact, the whole case is hinging upon Michael Cohen, someone who's obsessed with Trump. He used to be obsessed in a loving way towards him, and now he hates him. And it's felt a little stalkerish, to be honest with you, when you're sitting there. It's a lot.
Interesting. Kerri?
It is, and by the way, the prosecution is irritating the jury by basically your summation is twice as long as the defense.
Yes.
I'm just telling you, not that they can hear me. Kerri, thank you so much,
you.
Kerri Urbahn.
Thank you, Kerri.